What is good, chat man? Today we have a W video. Today we have a W stream actually. Today we are going to be reacting to, well, not really reacting. This is not a reaction video. I'm just so used to saying it. But today we are going to be actually breaking down, as you can see as the title, Michael Jackson and the Jewish Connection. Now, let me make sure everything's okay. Hold up. I don't stream a lot of chat, so I gotta get back into Mojo. Let me see. Hold up. What the fuck? Oh, okay. Everything looks good. Okay. Everything looks great. Okay. That white noise, bro. I gotta get a mic. I have to get a mic ASAP, bro. But should I put the glasses on? Let me see. That white noise, bro. I gotta get a mic. I have to get a mic ASAP, bro. But should I put the glasses on? Let me see. I might take them off. I'm gonna take them off. Anyways, chat. Welcome back to the stream, man. I'm gonna have the chat pulled up right here so I can see if y'all say something. But welcome to the stream. Uh, Today we actually have a W stream today, bro, because this is the first time I'm ever doing a stream where I'm actually breaking something down like this. Now I actually have something to do in like the next 30 minutes, so I'm not gonna rush through it, but I'm gonna actually make this a part one and a part two. This is part one, of course, and we're gonna just break down the first part of Michael Jackson and the Jewish Connection. So without further ado, man, before we get into the stream, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and let's get straight into it. Now, first, Michael Jackson and the Jewish Connection. Who killed him? You might be thinking, what do the Jews have to do with Michael Jackson? What, where does that connection even, connect? Now, Michael Jackson has a long history with Jewish people, and some people say it started in 1993. I would go back. I would say I would take it a step further and say that it goes back. Um, it goes back as early as 1984, 1985, to be specifically. And the reason why I say this is because if you look at this next slide, uh, you can see that in 1985, that's actually the year that Michael Jackson brought the Beatles catalog. If you don't know who the Beatles are, then I'm not gonna explain that because you should know who the Beatles are. But the Beatles are basically a group, one of the greatest groups of all time, one of the uh, most selling artists of all time. They're up there with this Michael Jackson, the Beatles. I think the Beatles actually might have sold more than Michael Jackson at one point, if they don't still have the record. But I know it's the Beatles, it's Michael Jackson, it's Elvis, people like that. So the Beatles are, their catalog is probably worth billions of dollars, millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars. So Michael Jackson buying the Beatles catalog is a big deal. Um, yeah. So in 1985, Michael Jackson buys the Beatles catalog. Now, a brief look into that, what it took for Michael Jackson to buy the Beatles catalog was the owner of the Beatles catalog prior to Michael Jackson was ATV Music. Now, um, the owner of ATV Music is Robert Holmes A. Court. Now, Robert Holmes A. Court, he isn't Jewish. He's a businessman from Australia who's, you know, he doesn't care who buys it. He just wants to sell it because he's gonna make a bunch of money from it. So, uh, hold on. So the competitors, the people who's going against Michael Jackson to buy the Beatles catalog is Charles Koppelman, and Marty Bandier. Now let's take a look at Marty Bandier. This is Marty Bandier, folks. This is Marty Bandier. Now you may be thinking, why is he important? He was just, he was just trying to buy the Beatles catalog. He doesn't have any significance in Michael Jackson's death, and that may be true. But one thing that we should know about Marty Bandier is that Marty Bandier is indeed. Hold up. Where is it at? Where is it at? Hold up. They're making me look like a liar now. Hold up. Personal life. Here we go. Bandier is Jewish. He is Jewish. That is right. Mr. Bandier is indeed Jewish. And since we're on Mr. Bandier, uh, it says he met his wife Denise Lefrak, daughter of housing developer Samuel Lefrak. So his father-in-law is Samuel Lefrak. Now the reason why Samuel Lefrak matters is because Samuel Lefrak also was trying to buy the Beatles catalog. He was also trying to buy the Beatles catalog. You know how right here on my notes it says New York real estate moguls? Now watch this. Watch this. Hold up. Alright, wrong guy. Samuel Lefrak was an American real estate tycoon. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, there's nothing in here. I already checked it. There's nothing in here that says that he's Jewish, but he is Jewish. I know he is because Jews most of the time don't marry outside of their religion, so outside of their race. And his daughter, which is Denise Lefrak, married Marty Bandier, who is Jewish. Now, all of this may seem like, oh, it's why does any of this matter? This matters because Michael Jackson actually beat them. He beat them, and he won the Beatles catalog. So this is the last that you're probably going to hear of Charles Koppelman, Marty Bandier, Samuel Lefrak, all these people. But just keep in mind that the people that he took. See, people always say that. Like, people always say, oh, Michael Jackson had a target on his back because he bought the Beatles catalog. But who did he beat to get the Beatles catalog? Why was there a target on his back for having the Beatles catalog? He took it. He didn't take it from them, but he won against the Jews. He won against the Jews for the Beatles catalog, which would have done them great. It would have gave them great fortune if they would have got it. Now, moving on. So this is where it starts. 1985, he wins the Beatles catalog, and yeah. Now, I feel like the next important part, it's not really important, it's just very brief, of Michael Jackson's life as far as the Jewish connection. We have to go to 1992. Now, as you can see, the beginning. The reason why I have this as the beginning is because it's the beginning of the FBI surveillancing Michael Jackson. The reason why that's important is because matter of fact, I'm gonna take it one step at a time, right quick. But the FBI began monitoring Jackson in 1992 when they investigated death threats against him made by a man obsessed with Jackson's sister, Janet. In 1993, following the first allegation of the child sexual assault by Jackson, FBI agents began looking into Jackson's alleged involvement with young children. The FBI... Wait, would I get banned if I'm saying that? I might gotta come up with a word for that. But the FBI investigations continue for almost 10 years. Now, Frank Paul Jones was the man who was obsessed with Janet. Now, a little insight on Frank Paul Jones. In 1992, Frank Paul Jones, a 33-year-old man who suffered from bipolar disorder, had became obsessed with singer Michael Jackson's sister, Janet Jackson, and believed he was married to her. Jones, who bizarrely claimed he was the son of mafia boss John Gotti, said he was entitled to half of Michael's estate and that he would kill the singer. But the threat was apparently a ruse to gain the attention of Janet Jackson. Jones also had a history of threatening to kill the president and has been arrested numerous times outside of the White House. Now, you may be saying, oh, where does the Jews come in here? And they necessarily don't. There is no. Frank Paul Jones wasn't Jewish, he was black. Um, but this 1992 is important because this is when they started monitoring Michael Jackson. And I honestly don't think that they stopped because in the next year, 1993, all of a sudden, an allegation comes up. The allegation of a sexual assault allegation comes up against Michael Jackson, and I don't know. That's just something. That's just like a little note that I want to add in there. It may not be a connection. It might not be a connection, but the FBI definitely probably seen something that, oh, he's very close with children. He's a little weird. So I feel like they could have used that to, because mind you, in 1992 he already has the Beatles catalog. In 1992 he already has the Beatles catalog. So why? I don't know. I feel like they could have been. You get what I'm saying. Anyways. Oh snap. Hold up. Wrong video. Hold on, chat. Hold on. My bad. Bro. Females, bro. Females, chat. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I'm on stream. Alright. I love you too. I'm so weak. Bro. But anyways, uh where was I at? Where was I at? Alright, so yeah, like I was saying. So this isn't really important. This is just a quick little note that should be kept in mind that they started monitoring him a year prior to the allegations, the first allegation that he got. That's just a quick little note. Um, yeah, that's just a quick note. So moving on to 1993. 1993, Evan Chandler accuses Michael Jackson of sexually assaulting his child. Now, Evan Chandler is Jewish, and I have a video that Candace Owens did, and we're gonna refer back to this video quite a bit. Um, yeah, we're gonna refer back to this video quite a bit because you know she breaks it down pretty good. But yeah.
So Michael himself had been in the public eye performing for 30 years. And he was nothing but adored. I mean, from his relationship with Princess Diana, Michael was everywhere. And it was just agreed that there would never be a talent like Michael Jackson. But then something happened in 1993, something very unusual given the fact that this was a man that was in the spotlight so much. It was in 1993 that the very first allegation came against him, made from a screenwriter in the industry. He was both a screenwriter and a dentist. named Dr. Evan Chandler, who was based in Los Angeles, and his accusation was that Jackson had
He's Jewish, by the way.
sexually abused his 13-year-old son, Jordan. Horrific. Now, how this came about was that Jordan told his psychiatrist that Jackson had molested him. And then the LAPD began a criminal investigation. But the investigation actually found no physical evidence against Jackson, and it was closed. The case was closed less than 1 year later. Now, that should have stopped the media from reporting on it. Michael Jackson wasn't guilty, but we know the media has never let facts get in the way of them having a good time. They broke the allegations worldwide, which led Michael Jackson to cancel the second leg of his Dangerous World Tour in August.
All right, before we get to that part, right? Because we're talking about 1993. So she already said the part where he canceled his tour, but Michael actually visits Israel. If you don't know what Israel is, it's basically the Jews' homeland. It's not really their land, but let's just give them that for this video. It's the Jews' homeland. He actually visits Israel, and I want to actually point something out. Okay, let's turn this down.
מייצר סדר יום חדש. הוא
טוקיו ומוסקבה חוזרת
This is 1993, by the way. Hold up.
ונשנית התמונה המוכרת. מאות מעריצים, רובם בגיל העשרה, ניצבים שעות מקרוב.
He has a bunch of fans.
ג'קסון מעדיף בדרך כלל ימים האורבים לו
Young
בכל
people,
פינה.
of course.
אני ישר מגבייה. אני ממש אוהבת אותו. חגים פה יום ולילה.
הרבה חנוכים, הרבה מגבים.
All right, bro, hold on.
למת הזמר יתאפשרו רק לאחר אימון שמור לראשי מדינות נהנה מכל רגע.
Michael Jackson, he arrives.
מדי פעם הוא מנהל דו-שיח בתנועות ידיים עם
Alright,
מעריציו.
I don't want to hear this Hebrew shit, bro. I don't want to hear them niggas talking Hebrew. But anyways, he arrives. And chat, look at who it is. Is it skipping? Hold on, the stream is skipping. Hold up. Anyways. Hold on, the stream is skipping. But anyways, bro, the usual suspects. Look, my nigga.
אבל הזמר שהספיק לשגע את העולם עשה זאת גם למתפללים ההמומים בכותל. למראה צבא הצלמים נרעשו המתפללים והחלו חוסמים בשולחנות את הכניסה. בתוך רגע התלקחה מהומה שהתלוותה בגידופים ומחאות ובקריאות שבס שבס. רצונו של מייקל ג'קסון להניח פתק בין
They obviously don't want him there.
סגולה נגד הצהרות
You know how demonic you have to be to not want Michael Jackson in your country? How demonic do you have to be? Let's see a little bit of that again. Just a little bit.
הכניסה. בתוך רגע התלקחה מהומה שהתלוותה בגלל צבא הצלמים נרעשו המתפללים והחלו
They're
חוסמים
violent.
בשולחנות
These
את
people are
הכניסה.
violent. Like, bro, but that's a little bit of that. Now, the reason why Michael Jackson going to Israel is important is because within a month of him being in Israel, hold up. Oh, so no, actually the accusations happened first. Then the next month, he went to Israel because he was on tour. And honestly, if y'all know what's going on in Palestine, with the genocide, that's actually, the conflict has actually been going on since the 40s, 1946, I think. He goes there, he goes to Israel, and he actually learns about Palestine. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, which he could have known about it before, he could have known about it after, but we know that I don't have any evidence that he learned about Palestine while he was actually in Israel, but it would make sense because then he writes a song for Palestine. And should I pull it up? Or I'm not gonna pull it up, but he actually writes a song for Palestine. Yeah, and I believe it was written in 1993, if I'm not mistaken, or 1992. So if it was written in 1993, this adds up with his visit to Israel. Now, okay, now we're gonna go back to Candace Owens' video.
August of that same year, and he cited health issues, health problems that were stemming from the stress of the entire scandal. And do you want to know what actually added to the stress? This is actually horrific. His sister, LaToya Jackson, came right out and she said, yup, Michael Jackson is a pedophile.
Now, before I let her continue, because I'm pretty sure she's going to say this, but LaToya Jackson was married to a guy named Jack Gordon. Jack Gordon, this guy right here, Jack Gordon is actually Jewish. He's Jewish. Look, Jack Leon Gordon was born Springfield, Illinois, to Abraham Gordon, a Jewish Russian immigrant. So he's an Israeli. Now, do you see how this is like, bro? We're not even that deep into the conspiracy yet, and it's not really a conspiracy, but we're not really that deep into this video yet. And how many Jewish people have been named so far? How many connections to Jewish people are there? Literally, first he takes the Beatles catalog from Jews, basically. Then he's accused of a Jew. I mean, he's accused of sexually assaulting a kid, and the parents are Jews. Now, his sister speaks out against him and says, yeah, matter of fact, let's play that video. Hold on. Do I have that video? Yeah, let's play this video of LaToya Jackson.
I heard a lot of lies. That 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days.
Is your brother a pedophile?
In my eyes, definitely yes.
Who says that about their brother at that? And my thing is, and then, which is literally proven, she came out and said it, that she was controlled by her husband to say that. And, you know, if we want to take it a step further, let's see why they divorced. So that you can get some type of understanding on what type of man this is. It says Gordon sometimes hired bodyguards to watch LaToya, and she claimed that he would never allow her to speak or see her family. LaToya's father, Joseph, stated in his book, The Jacksons, that he believed Gordon brainwashed her and made her scared of her own family. Jackson's mother, Catherine, also agreed that LaToya has been brainwashed, while Gordon claimed that Catherine had tried to kill LaToya. Her sister, Janet, concurred with her parents, saying at the time, I think this guy who was with her has brainwashed her and made her like this. I don't really need to keep going, but he doesn't have actually, hold on. This is the big one. In December 1993, Gordon hastily arranged a press conference in Tel Aviv, the capital of Israel, by the way. Or is it? I don't know. But it's the city in Israel where he had Jackson, LaToya, read a statement that she believed sexual abuse allegations against her brother Michael was true. She stated, this is what she said in her statement. I cannot and will not be a silent collaborator in his crimes against young children. Forget about the superstar. Forget about the icon. If he was any other 35-year-old man who was sleeping with little boys, you wouldn't like this guy. Gordon claimed LaToya had proof that she was prepared to disclose for a fee of $500,000. Now, if it's really about the kids, why would you need a fee of $500,000? Just drop the proof. Release the proof. A bidding war between U.S. and U.K. tabloids began, but fell through when they realized that the revelations were not what she had claimed them to be. Now, it's kind of irrelevant to read the rest, but bro, like, come on, bro. What more do I need to say? Anyways, so yeah, let's get back to the Candace Owens video.
But then something weird happened. She didn't provide any evidence. She didn't even attach that statement to a story. And when people prodded her about that, why did you say your brother is a pedophile? She admitted that it was her husband who had forced her to make that statement. Now,
this is Jack Gordon, the Jewish nigga. And it's just like, this isn't a coincidence at this point. I don't believe that this is a coincidence.
It's very strange. Who is LaToya Jackson's husband? Well, here's a photo of her with him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Like Dr. Evan Chandler, this man is Jewish. I'm going to tell you why that matters as we get more into the Michael Jackson story. Her husband is a Jewish Russian immigrant, it says.
I'm gonna skip over this because I just said this, but...
And were surrounding him at this rec place. He began speaking to the little boy because he, I guess, felt uncomfortable about all the press. They had a conversation, and he felt that the family was just so kind to him that they became really close friends. He traveled around with Jordan. He brought Jordan's mother with him, took them everywhere, hosted sleepovers with Jordan, along with other young boys. Obviously, we all know about his Neverland Ranch, and our understanding of that up until this point was just that Michael Jackson always felt that he didn't have a childhood. And so he always felt badly for children and wanted them to have an experience, have a real childhood, and created a ranch to make that a plausibility. Like, he wanted to create Disney World forever for children. Then some things got kind of strange as you start to look into the story. You're going, okay, so they were friends. The media loved it. They referred to them as Michael Jackson's adoptive family. They loved the background story. And then apparently this kid's dad, Jordan Chandler, and to be clear, the person who picked Michael Jackson up and took care of his car was Jordan Chandler's stepfather. But his real father started going...
And by the way, the stepfather is also Jewish.
I actually don't like his relationship with Michael Jackson. And that's interesting because then you find out that despite the fact that his real father, Dr. Evan Chandler, made these allegations against Michael Jackson, despite the fact that you learn that it was him that did this, Jordan Chandler, just a year later, decided to emancipate from both of his parents. So you're following me. He's 13 years old. His biological father makes allegations at the age of 13 against Michael Jackson, the king of pop. And a year later, Jordan Chandler moves to emancipate from both of his parents. In case you're not aware of what emancipation is, it's essentially you go to the courts and you can say a variety of things. You show them that you have some way to make money, and you say, I do not want to be the child of either of these parents. Literally emancipate me before
His mom was Jewish too, by the way.
I turn 18. And the judge grants that if they believe that there's enough evidence that you should be emancipated. He did this. Jordan Chandler did this. And it makes you wonder, like, how could you do this to your dad? I mean, like, your poor old man, that must have been a really tough decision for Dr. Evan Chandler to stand up to the king of pop and all his power and all his fandom and to say, hey, he molested my child and it wasn't on my watch. My wife is remarried. He shouldn't have even been having sleepovers. You would think that Jordan would adore his father for having done this. And then you find out that when he turned 16, he filed a restraining order against his dad because his dad tried to beat him with a weight. What's really going on? Well, certainly, again, like I said, at least it was courageous that his dad made these allegations against Michael Jackson, because this is sickening, it is disgusting, and it's not like his dad drugged him into making this sort of an allegation. Oh my gosh. Actually, he did. His father, Dr. Evan Chandler, did in fact drug his child into making the allegation about Michael Jackson. I'm going to read you directly from an article about what Dr. Evan Chandler did. It reads, on August 2nd, 1993, dentist Dr. Evan Chandler was extracting a tooth from his own son, Jordan, when he did something unusual. Under the supervision of an attending anesthesiologist, Dr. Chandler injected his son with a dose of sodium amytal, a barbiturate. Although in pop culture it has sometimes incorrectly been called a truth serum. It is not normal to use sodium amytal to pull a tooth. In fact, it is a psychological drug with sedative and hypnotic effects. Oh, totally normal situation to drug your child, to sedate him with a drug that produces hypnotic effects, and then to ask him, did Michael Jackson molest you? To which your drugged and sedated son says yes. That is the actual story about how this allegation came about. And once his son said yes, and he...
It's such a Jewish, slimy thing to do. You know, like, we try to sit here and say, like, oh, you know, don't judge people. No, that's a Jewish, slimy tactic to do. And, you know, some Jews, they're good. Like, there's a lot of good Jewish people. And I know that some of them wouldn't go as far as what this guy did. But it's like, bro, that's so slimy.
Recorded that, Evan Chandler then demanded $20 million privately from Michael Jackson. He didn't go to the cops. He went to a lawyer. He said, I won't make this public if you give me $20 million. If you don't give me $20 million, I'm going to make it public. And Michael Jackson told him to kick rocks, allegedly. And then he had his lawyer go back and say, okay, what about if it's just $1 million? And by the way, at this point, it says that his lawyer was like, hey, man, but like, you know, if your son was molested, maybe go to the cops, right? Like, don't just have me negotiating with the king of pop. Like, you should go to the cops. And he's like, you just keep negotiating. Unbelievably. And during this time, he took his son to a psychiatrist.
And bro,
love psychiatry.
and there's actually a recording of Evan Chandler, which is the dad of the child who was so-called molested. There's actually a recording of the dad talking to the stepdad, basically saying, which I think she actually puts it in
on this show, and he made his son describe graphic details of what Jackson had done to him, but didn't do to any of the other boys.
This is actually the recording of what the dad is saying that he's going to do to Michael Jackson. Listen to this and tell me if you believe that his son was molested.
Humiliated beyond belief, and I will not believe that he will not believe what's going to happen. And beyond his worst nightmares. One more
I don't
record.
think y'all can hear that for real. I'm gonna play the other one that I got.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. And I will not believe that he will not believe what's going to happen. And beyond his worst nightmares. So one more record. This attorney I found, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a bitch I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight. Any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. And I've given him full authority to do that. It'll be a massacre if I don't get what I want. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want, and they will be destroyed forever. They will be destroyed. June is going to lose Jordy. She will have no right to ever see him again. Yeah. That's a fact, Dave. That's what's going to happen. Does that help? Michael's career will be over. Does that help Jordy? Michael's career will be over. And does that help Jordy? That's irrelevant to me.
His son is irrelevant to him. That's what he said. So this is obviously someone who's after money.
Whether or not this helps his son is irrelevant to him. That man sounds like he is on a warpath. You think that's crazy? Well, it's about to get even crazier. Do not go away after a brief message from one of our sponsors.
Okay, I don't care about your sponsor, my nigga. But anyways,
Son, I don't know. It's interesting, and it sounds like he doesn't care. His son is irrelevant to him. Maybe that's why he wanted to emancipate away from his crazy dad. And if you want an even crazier update, Evan Chandler, the person who started this initial allegation, he's no longer with us because he was suicided. He committed suicide.
bro, and you know, this is where it gets spooky. this is where it gets spooky. Like, he suicided himself? Or was he killed? Or was he killed, bro? And this is why I say the FBI connection in 1992 when they were monitoring him. I can't say that word. Monitoring him. When they were surveillancing him. When, the guy was stalking Janet. How do we know that that wasn't really a scheme for a bigger picture? How do we not know that when they were monitoring him, they were watching what he was doing, and then they sent this man, Evan Chandler, and they got this man, Evan Chandler, to bring these allegations forward. And then, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he killed himself after, he so-called killed himself a year after Michael Jackson died. He probably was going to talk.
In November of 2009, just 5 months after Michael Jackson was overdosed, Evan Chandler shot himself in the head. There were absolutely no witnesses. There was no note, and he was found by his building concierge. That's just a fun little update for you. But back to Michael Jackson, because even though, like I said, though that never went through, they dropped this case in less than a year. The media kind of saw that there was this squeeze on Michael Jackson, but then they let it go. There were no more allegations against Michael Jackson until almost 10 years later, when suddenly there was an explosion.
All right, hold on, Candace. We're skipping ahead. 1994 is important. Because in 1994, Michael Jackson actually settles the case. He settles the case. And, he settles the case for $25 million. And I put his biggest mistake because his lawyer actually said that Michael regretted. Actually, multiple people have said that Michael regretted settling the case because, it opened doors for other people to set forth allegations and it makes him look guilty and things of that nature. So in 1994, he settles the case. So this can all go away, as he says. Then Michael Jackson starts working on the His Story album, where I believe that this is a very revolutionary album. And he speaks a lot, like songs like Earth Song is on there, They Don't Care About Us. And, I believe that he was going to put the Free Palestine song on there. But the CEO or executive of Sony Records at this time was Jewish. Why would he allow Michael Jackson to put that song on there? And I actually don't have his name pulled up right now, but I'll find it. But, so he gets a lot of backlash from settling the case and things of that nature. And he also gets backlash from, hold on, chat, my bad. I don't think I wrote this, because I didn't get a chance to put everything on the slides. My bad. L YouTuber. I'm not prepared. I might just gotta come back to this part. Oh yeah, because he releases They Don't Care About Us in 1995. And then that's where he gets backlash from the Jewish community for saying, Jew me, sue me, you can never do me, kick me, kike me, you will never, something, whatever he said. So let's just listen to what Candace has to say, and then we're gonna come back to. We're gonna come back. We might end the video here because we've been going for 40 minutes. So we might end the video here. Well, not here, but after she says what she has to say, and then I'm gonna actually do a part 2 where I can go into deeper detail about what happens from 1995 to his death, and that's actually going to be that's going to be the one right there. So
of allegations against Michael Jackson. And I want you to remember that year, 2003 is when it began. It began when a boy named Gavin Arvizo.
Okay, so actually, chat, I'm going to end right here because she's going to go into what I want to talk about for the part 2. And not just that, but there's things in between that we also need to touch on. So, W Stream, I seen a couple of people in here. Yeah, W Stream, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And bro, we're gonna be back with part 2. We're gonna be back with part 2. This is just the this was just the this was just the foundation. This was just the beginning. It gets way more sick. It gets way more sick than what we've seen. So make sure to tune back in. I'm dropping part 2 tomorrow. I'm not dropping it, but I'm gonna be live on YouTube tomorrow. I'm gonna be live tomorrow, chat. Make sure y'all are tuning in tomorrow at 12 o'clock a.m. My late night stream. I'm gonna be up. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Drop down your concerns, your comments. If you think that the FBI monitoring Michael Jackson in 1992 had anything, do y'all think that's a reach? It might be a reach. I might be reaching, but I believe that it could be true. It's anything is possible when you're talking about the CIA. So it's like, or the FBI, I should say. But yeah, let me know if y'all think there's a connection there. Let me know if way too many Jewish people have been named so far. I mean, we've only been talking about an 8-year span, from 1985 to 1993. Yeah, 8-year span. So it's like, let me know about all that. And without further ado, man, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And we're actually going to be back tomorrow. So stay tuned. Peace.